Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wild, Creative, and Confident, a video interview series where you can learn from the most inspiring industry leaders on how you can use your passion and creativity to design the life and business of your dreams. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Thompson from wildandcreative.com, and today we have with us Lisa Marie Pepe. Lisa is the confidence and online visibility coach for heart-centered women entrepreneurs. She's equipped with a dual master's degree in education and clinical psychology. And Lisa has she's also published books and is a radio host and a motivational speaker. So welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thanks, Sarah, so much for the warm welcome, and hello to everyone else.
I'm really excited to have you on because I feel like if we were talking about right brain and left brain people, you're a perfect blend of both.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Sometimes I don't always see that, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Perfect. So I'd love to get into our chat. Is there anything else you want to tell us just before we get going, just about, what you're kind of up to in your day-to-day with your coaching or...
Just briefly, again, the heart and soul of my business is about confidence building, and it's all about online visibility. So that is what I empower my clients to do. And I'm just working hard, developing new programs all the time. And, it's just, I love what I do. And I can't express that enough. When you're truly in alignment with what, you're meant to be doing, it just feels amazing. And I feel like that every single day. And I just feel really blessed to have that.
That's awesome. Well, you can definitely tell you definitely have a passion for what you're doing. So I'm going to ask you, have you always been a very creative or inspired individual, like driven by that passion, or is that something that kind of came on later in life?
No, I've actually I've been this way for my entire life. So while I was very much like detail oriented and, I was always like that as a child, but I really had an imaginative side as well and a creative side. So I love to draw and create and color and, and all of those things when I was growing up. So I could go from the classroom, and having like perfect penmanship and, getting, A's in history and science. And then I could go out and just, draw and doodle and create things. And I actually got into crafting for a while, like when I was in high school and like my college years, like I held a couple craft fairs, just stuff I had created and painted. And I actually would love to get more into that even now. It's just that with the demands of running two businesses, let alone one, kind of leaves little room for that. However, I do create now. When you see a lot of my posts, or if you see my posts, I do always create my own images. So I've kind of taken it from, a very tangible, in terms of like coloring, on a physical piece of paper, which I still enjoy, but I've taken that to sort of the digital world. And I've kind of taught myself how to do a lot of graphic design too. So yeah, I would call myself creative.
Awesome. Well, it's nice to hear you say that because you seem like you're a very educated person and you seem very academic, right? But you also have that really creative side to you. So I want to know, did you always know deep down that you would reach this reality in a sense that you're living today? Or did it really take like a sharp turn into this reality?
It's funny. I'm exactly where I want to be, but I did not take the same route that I thought I would to get here. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that we have like A, B, C, or D, right? And we follow our inspiration into whatever that path is, and it could lead us to the same place.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened with me, So I knew from a very young age that I always wanted to work with people just in general to help them and, and empower them, inspire them, whatever it was. And every single role that I've taken on, whether it was, with my teaching degree or with my clinical psychology degree, whatever it was, I was always working with people to try to help them become better versions of themselves, or, to teach them something. And, now being a coach and helping other women entrepreneurs, sometimes I do feel like, could someone like wake me from, don't wake me from dreaming, rather, I should say, instead of, wake me from dreaming. But, it feels amazing to be where I'm at right now. And of course, there's always room for personal growth and professional development, which I totally believe in. So I'm not yet arrived, like at that, self-actualization, mark that some of the big gurus are. But, I love my life the way it is right now.
I'm pretty sure for most gurus, though, it's always like a point of learning. Like you're never really actually there because every day is different and you're always continuing to learn and grow, right? And that's what makes a great teacher or a great leader, right? So I think you're definitely on the right path. So tell me, how do you feel that you have taken your passion for your business? How do you feel you've taken your passion for business into a different level than most people or a different direction than most people? Kind of like what makes you really unique in this sense?
I think, and it's funny because I never really stopped to realize how much I had accomplished in a very short period of time. And because I tend to lose sight of my own progress, my own, quote unquote wins or successes or whatever. So I've been told by other people, and now looking back, I can kind of, I can give myself that credibility and say, oh, yeah, I did accomplish that. But I think in a very short period of time, I created something much larger and a bigger following than most people who have probably been in the same kind of business for a long time. And that's simply because I dug deep. I really dug my heels in deep when I knew that this was going to do or be what I was going to be doing. It's either all in or all out. You can't kind of halfway, build your business or halfway, not be there or halfway kind of do anything. So for me, this was like, okay, I'm going to go all in and just taught myself everything I could about being a coach and honing my own skills, investing in myself, investing in my business, teaching myself all about social media. Last year I was like a sponge. I just soaked in everything that came my way. And now I'm kind of fine tuning it into, the business that I have.
Well, just like anything creative, you really kind of just pick up on outside influences and things like that, right? So even when it comes to like, building a big social media following or that kind of thing, like one thing I notice about your social media following is that they seem kind of like diehard fans. It's not just like general willy-nilly people like following you on your page. They seem like they're very connected to you and you have a really strong relationship with them.
Yeah, thanks so much for pointing that out. Just yesterday, a woman that is in one of the Facebook groups that I run, my Confidence Hub for Heart-Centered Women Entrepreneurs, and someone in the group that I've not personally coached, but yet, she's a part of the group and she's a part of the interactions in that group. She welcomed another member into the group and she tagged me and she was like, oh, this is an amazing, inspiring group. And Lisa Marie Pepe is going to be, such an inspiration for you. And she's such a great coach for all of us. And I sat back and I was like, wow, like I didn't even know that woman felt that way, So I do, yeah, I mean, the relationships I build, I have to say they are authentic. It doesn't matter if someone's trying to build like an MLM or a direct sales business, or if they're trying to build a six-figure business.
Yeah.
I treat everybody equally. I get on the phone with people. I spend time on Messenger with people, and I build relationships. So thank you for pointing that out.
So then I want to ask you, what has been your biggest achievement when it comes to personal power and understanding yourself to the point of, just that ease and flow when you feel that, you're really just connected to your inspiration, you're connected to your, inner creativity, and you have that ease and flow in your life?
Wow. A lot of what I would personally consider to be that moment, right, where you really feel like, okay, so now I got it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I really do feel accomplished. I would say it's the whole process of becoming an entrepreneur, because I never set out to become an entrepreneur. And in fact, up till actually 2 years ago, in a couple of days, I was always an employee. I always worked for other people, whether as a clinician or a teacher or, teacher's assistant or whatever. And, I want to say I was kind of forced into entrepreneurship, but that's not really even like, it's kind of an oxymoron, right? So what happened to me was I had to have major shoulder surgery 2 years ago. In on the 20th of January would be the 2-year anniversary. And my shoulder, it didn't heal the way it was supposed to. I have limited range of motion even now. And there's certain things I just can't do, right? So I've accepted that. I still work and do as much as I can. But going into a 9 to 5 kind of setting is not an ideal job for me. Or, somewhere where an employer is not going to understand, I need to sit down X amount of hours per day, or I need to whatever, go put heat on my neck, or, loosen up my shoulder or whatever. Employers are not going to understand that. So it was about 2 years ago, few months after the surgery, and I was sitting in my bedroom, and at that time I was in a lot of like physical discomfort, emotional discomfort. I was bored out of my mind, didn't know what my future held. I didn't know if I was going back to work, couldn't go back to work, whatever. My shoulder was beyond like that pain, that scale of like 0 to 10. It was like on 100 that day. And I just kind of said, okay, there's a deeper purpose here. There's a deeper meaning for my life. And it's not just to get up and go to physical therapy and sit in bed all day and not feel like I'm contributing to society.
It's literally like you were pushed into working for yourself. Yeah. It's like the universe was like, it's time.
Like that's the thing. So while it's kind of like an oxymoron to say I was forced into entrepreneurship, I mean, in reality, it kind of, that's the way the cards were dealt, I suppose. Right. So I had two options. I could have kind of just given up and kind of like sunk inward and gotten really depressed and down on myself, because I had done that a long time ago when I first had my car accident and I lost my position as a massage therapist. That was a really tough loss for me. And, after I picked up the pieces and started to regain my confidence and all that, then I had the surgery. And then that kind of put a big halt on my future plans as well. So, yeah, I mean, I do believe that we all have choices to make. I could have made a choice to sit back and try to apply for disability and just kind of sit around and, and not do anything productive and not help anybody, but that's not my nature. So yeah, I decided in that moment that I was going to pursue coaching. And I had no idea where I would be in 2 years. Like I had no idea I would write a book and I would build a following and I would be doing things with you and other coaches like online like we are. So yeah, it's just the way the universe kind of said, here, these are your choices, decide. And I'm a very spiritual person, so I prayed a lot upon it and just kind of came naturally.
So I want to ask you, like, when you were, like, you must have gone through a slump, right? Like, when you went through your surgery, like, I'm sure there was some days of depression. I'm sure there was some days of just feeling like garbage. How did you really bust through with still getting to that inspired point? Right? Because a lot of people watching, I'm assuming, people come from all different walks of life, right? And, I'm sure we've got people that are going through many different emotions at this time. And especially when you are depressed, or especially when you are going through rough times, it's really hard to get inspired, right? So how did you really, bust through and get inspired in your own way?
That's a great question. And it's something that I often teach my clients as well, right? That's what I talk about, is how to have that breakthrough, how to break through fear, how to become confident in who you are. But it wasn't always the case for me. I didn't just suddenly burst onto the scene and become the confidence coach, right? Like that's just not the way it worked. When I first got into the car accident and injured myself, I lost my ability to really fully use my left shoulder. And I was a massage therapist at that time. And when that happened, that was absolutely devastating to me. It was devastating because I didn't know where to turn. Even though I was educated and all that, it like all went out the window. It didn't even make sense, right? Like who cares if I had like 4 PhDs at that point? It didn't matter. I loved what I was doing as a massage therapist, and I could not do it any longer. And I went into a pretty severe depression after that. I felt very lost. I felt like I didn't know which end was up. And if someone had said to me that at that time, well, it's going to be okay, you'll figure it out, I probably would not have believed them. Yeah. So I took a lot of really crappy jobs. Truthfully, I have 2 master's degrees and I worked as a telemarketer, and that's no joke. Okay. For like $8 an hour, and got screamed and yelled at every night on the phone. I had a horrible boss. I actually got fired from that job. And now, of course, I'm laughing about it. But back then, it was devastating. Yeah. So as I kind of put the pieces back together and finally, quote unquote, got back on my feet, I got back into teaching. And so I took a position as I was doing special education. So I was doing, I was more of a paraprofessional. That's what we call them, where you're like a special education teacher's assistant.
Okay.
So I was doing that, had my surgery. So now we're talking about, 2 years since the accident where I've really kind of rebuilt my life. Now I'm getting comfortable. I'm working again, feeling really good in a position that kind of fits my needs and my skill set. And I had the surgery. And yes, there were times after that surgery with my arm pinned in a sling for 6 weeks where I was absolutely miserable. Going to physical therapy was torture. I mean, it was torture. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, seriously. And I knew that at that time, it was the middle of winter. I had it on January 20th. Around February, March, I still wasn't back to work. It was one of the worst winters we were having here in Connecticut. It snowed every freaking day. Every weekend, it seemed like we had blizzards. And that's when I made an actual decision. And I said, okay, the first time around, I tried to handle things the way that I thought I could handle them. Meaning I really wasn't looking to divine guidance as much as I probably should have. I was trying to kind of make things work. And I got depressed. I got anxious. I felt lost. I took crappy jobs. I was in a crappy relationship, all of that stuff. This time around, when I knew that things were going to change and they were going to change permanently, I really went full out and just got into like a deep spiritual place and got connected again with my higher power and said, look, I tried to do it my way the first time, didn't work. I need you on this one. And so I prayed, I meditated, I prayed some more, and it was like within a week, I had gotten a lot of feedback from some friends and family that I'd asked, and I just knew that coaching was going to be the right path for me. And in the beginning, what really kept me going was I just shared a lot of inspiration with other people.
Yeah.
With a very simple Facebook page that I created about a year and a half ago. I don't even think it's active anymore, but it was a page of positivity, literally. And that's what I do.
When did you start like your coaching, doing the radio show?
That was in July of 2013.
So, I mean, you've come a long way since then. I mean, you've probably recorded like how many?
At least 30 some odd shows I've been on. So, and again, like I love that. That was one of the greatest decisions I ever made for myself personally and professionally. I'd say about 30 something shows at least.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have a pretty diverse portfolio now, from where you've come from anyway, right? And at least in the past couple of years. I just wanted to ask you, though, I know we were talking about achievement and, knowing in your heart when you've really like achieved or you've really got to that place, you've arrived. A lot of people think that and I've been there too, a lot of people think that they have arrived somewhere when they start making a lot of money. Right? Or we don't think that we are on the right path if we're not making a lot of money. Can you kind of shed a light onto that subject?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally, do not define my self-worth by a dollar amount that's attached to my name or a checkbook or in an account online on a debit card or anything like that. My self-worth and my self-confidence comes from knowing that I'm doing the best that I can possibly do while on this physical earth to empower other women. And that for me is success. I know we need we need money. Like I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know it's fluid currency and it's what makes the world go round, right? Money is energy. And I just personally don't attach my name to a dollar sign and my self-worth to a dollar sign. So for me, I look for other ways that validate that I'm doing a good job. And for example, like the relationships I've built with the women in my community or in my Facebook group or things like that. That for me is what success is about. Or when a client, writes me a testimonial and says, thank you so much. I feel so much better that we've, now even just talked. Or suddenly I have a vision of where my life is going to go in the next year. That for me, that's success. it's, the money comes as a byproduct of really following your intuition and being what I call being in alignment with your higher power.
So, like, how have you personally taken the route of being creative opposed to competitive in your business now, in your soulful business? Like, how has competition really affected you over the years, and how have you risen above it and been creative?
Great question. It is something I'm still working on, right? Because we all tend to have a little bit of that comparisonitis type stuff, especially if you work in the online world and you're within a particular niche. You're a coach, I'm a coach. We're in tons of groups together, tons of Facebook groups and all that. And so there are moments, where I find myself comparing myself to some of the bigger coaches or people that I aspire to be like. But then kind of reality kind of sets back in and I say, okay, I'm doing the best that I can with the resources that I have. There's always room for growth. There's always room for me to improve upon what I'm doing. And I remind myself that everyone starts at the same place. So the person that's got, 10,000 people on their email list, well, they started out with 10 people on their email list. Mm-hmm. Or the coach who, has now, coached, 600 women in a group program. Well, she had client number one.
Yeah.
I try to really reflect on that and just say, all right, well, you know what? My progress and my process is unique to me. And honestly, to keep like a creative flair and not to be competitive, I really love just engaging in dialogue with women. Like, I love it. So oftentimes what I'll do, I told you before, I create all of my own graphics for my posts, right? And I know you and I have like talked about this. We laughed even, the amount of which I post. I'm always like,
yes. I always see you. You're everywhere. You're everywhere, and you have a lot of content everywhere. And I'm just thinking, like, I don't think she sleeps. Like, I swear, you always have so much to say, which is amazing too, right?
And here's the thing, I totally do sleep. Like, I shut down, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I sleep 8 hours a night, like 7.5 to 8 hours. So self-care is definitely a non-negotiable, by the way. But yeah, that's how I really use my creative, side to really engage with women and to be, to build a network of women that I know. I mean, I have friends like you or, colleagues in different parts of the world. I have clients in different parts of the world. And all of that is because I feel I take that creative flow, create really nice images, which tend to, grasp people's attention. And then I speak to them when they comment, or and I'll say, hey, thanks for liking my post, or thanks for liking my page, or whatever. And then that starts a dialogue. So for me, that's just a natural flow of things. Like, I don't think we're supposed to be always in competition with one another. I prefer collaboration over competition.
I think you're a perfect example of connection and collaboration. I think that you have a very soulful way of bringing people together and really also touching people's hearts with your writing. I mean, I think you're a natural writer. You're obviously a natural speaker. And yeah, I mean, you're the full package.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say that. Again, sometimes I lose perspective too, and I'm not immune to those little monsters in your head that go, well, what are you doing to succeed today, or what have you done lately, or but thank you for pointing that out. And I do love to write, and I like to talk, if you can't guess. Sorry.
What would you suggest to the entrepreneurs or even future entrepreneurs that are watching this regarding a method that has really worked for you that could help them find their true, authentic, creative, and inspired calling?
I actually do have advice for that. And, bang computer. I actually do have some advice for new entrepreneurs, and that's also why I truly love working with new entrepreneurs. What I would say is you've got to follow your own path. When you first start out, you are going to be bombarded with the information, the opportunities, buy my course, coach with me, buy this. subscribe to this, get on this list, do that, do this. This is the way you should coach. This isn't the way you should coach. This is what you should charge. This isn't what you should charge. Been there, done that. And you know what? You spin out of control. So the best possible advice that I could give is to actually pay attention to how your body is responding physically, emotionally, mentally, when you throw an idea out there. You know, and always remember that the path is yours. So just because someone is a guru or a coach or an expert or whatever, you know, I even teach my own clients this. I'm not the expert on their life. I'm not the expert on their business. I help them, I guide them, I mentor them, but ultimately they know what's best for them. So, yeah, I mean, plain and simple, listen to your intuition. If it doesn't feel good for you, then don't do it. If charging, $15,000 for a program doesn't feel good, don't do it. If you want to charge $150, for a session, do it. You've got to find that balance within yourself and what actually makes you tick. Because when you do, then it just naturally flows. And I'm a testament to that. I tried to kind of fit into all these little categories and stuff, and I'm kind of just doing my own thing now, and the universe is seeing that and rewarding me. So,
because there is such a connection with having, using your intuition and then also having the clarity of what it is that you should be doing, right? I think we've talked about this a million times. Intuition and clarity, like they go hand in hand. Because when you're using your intuition, I mean, truly, you are going to find that creative path that's going to lead you to the right answer, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
So I also wanted to ask you, how have you really managed to find clarity in your life, or even in the last couple of years?
Well, a lot of that has to do with the self-care routine that I do every single day. So I know, because of my injury and because of my circumstances the way they are, neglecting my self-care is not an option. Like it's just not an option. My body is not going to function, and therefore my mind's not going to function if I don't do certain things every day. So every single day I begin with gratitude and prayer. No joke. Like the first thing that I say every single morning when I get up, the left foot goes down, I say thank, the right foot goes down, and I say you. I look up and I just say thank you. Because to me, that's me expressing my gratitude to my higher power, saying thank you for another day of life. And from there, I eat a nutritious breakfast, I meditate, I read the Bible a little bit, I read some kind of, positive, spiritual, uplifting quote. I exercise every day, and then, I dig deep into the content that I'm going to create. I dig deep into what my clients are doing. And this year, it's kind of funny. This year, I know this will probably air much later, but right now, while we're recording, I'm just going to share this. I decided to have like a theme for my year, right? So everyone has like a word or a theme, and I never have. So I said, you know what? This year I got to think about this. And I came up with faithful, focused, and fearless. So that's my theme for this entire year. It's to always remain faithful, because like I said before, I'm very spiritual, I'm very heart-centered. My faith in God is what has gotten me through a lot of, ups and downs and trials and tribulations. So faithful that the process will always work, focused on what needs to be done first. Because as an entrepreneur who is doing everything on her own right now, I have to be very careful the way I spend my time. And therefore, I'm doing my best not to get, hooked into, some of the social media stuff, or, mindless, endless games, or, whatever. I mean, I do those things at times, but I incorporate that into a daily routine. So I'm very routine. I'm very kind of structured, so that, and a lot of entrepreneurs don't do this. And then I do feel like this is why they burn out. The business kind of swallows them because they find themselves trying to do so much that they actually start to burn out. Like they're not eating well, they're not sleeping well, they're not, whatever. And I specifically personally set up my daily calendar so that I can fit in all of the things that I need to do for myself and for my business. And, for example, like I do water therapy for my shoulder. I do that every single day. That is non-negotiable. It does not matter. I mean, in an extreme case of like life or death, maybe I might consider, like not going in the water. But that for me, I mean, that's what allows me to keep moving and to feel better every single day. So every day in my calendar, that time is X'd out. So if someone is trying to, book a discovery session, or, a client wants to make a session or something, that time frame in which I do that, it's just, that's my time, and I have to do it. I have to do it for myself. And I don't feel like I have to apologize for that. You know what I mean?
Where'd you get your discipline from? Like, and myself too. Like, I mean, I'm disciplined to a certain degree, but definitely not what you're talking about. Like, you have like your schedule, like blocked off. You're like, I'm doing this, this, and this. I'm sure a lot of those things you have to for, your shoulder and things like that. Right. And so where did the discipline really come from? Like, did it really get fired up like in the past couple years, or did you always have that?
No, I've always been like that. I'm really a creature of habit, to be truthful. I don't like a lot of change, and I don't like not knowing. I don't like waking up and going, what am I going to do today? Like, that for me is a little scary.
Yeah.
Some might call it a control freak, whatever. It's fine. But it works for me. Now on the other hand, there are people who are very much just kind of fly by the seat of their pants, get up, go wherever the wind takes them. And I admire those people. I feel like, hey, if that's what works for you and you're cool with that and you can do what you have to do and live a successful life, go for it. For me, I kind of want to know.
Yeah.
There's a bit of, yes, me putting it out to the universe and trusting and all of that. But I know that there's got to be action steps that come with my desires and, and what I want and hope and dream for. I've got to make tangible steps and do tangible things every day. And in terms of the discipline, it's funny. Like, I've never been in the military. My parents were not
You probably rock it, though.
I know, right? It's like, I could totally do this army thing. Like, I'm up 6:25 a.m., boom, on the dot. Like, that alarm goes off 6:25, I'm up.
You're like writing already.
yeah, seriously. Like, I'm up no, you're going to laugh, but like 6:25, the alarm goes off. Breakfast is at 6:30 a.m. Like, I mean, I've got like things scheduled. Like, let's go, like we got to go. And that's probably why I can get as much content out as I do. I think because I block that time off. I say, okay, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing then. And there's room for flexibility. I mean, I'm not like so stringent where I'm like, no, like I can't, hop on a call here and there and stuff. I'm not quite, like that and inflexible. But I think the disciplinary like stuff, it definitely doesn't come from my upbringing either, because my parents, I mean, they were good parents, but I was never like, I wasn't a regimented kid. I would say the only thing that it probably came from was me playing sports my whole life, and having, that kind of mindset that you've got to practice, you've got to work hard, you've got to, nothing comes easy. If you want to win, you've got to, give it your all. So basically the motto is, for me, or it's kind of always been, do everything that you're doing like it's the last time you're doing it, because you don't know, it might just be. Right. So every time I do something, whether it's a post or whether it's, I don't know, anything, I just want to make sure that I'm giving it my best effort.
Yeah. And if you're doing it anyway, why not do it well? Right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it doesn't take that long to like skim over your copy and just kind of, I don't know, add some punctuation or, whatever. I mean,
I know that was a direct hit to me. I know that you did that.
No, it totally wasn't, because honestly, like, I see all the time. Because when you actually send out content, it actually is very crisp and clear.
Well, when I send something to you, it's not spell checked.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about when you're on like Messenger and you're just like using like you as like literally. But, I do see some professionals, and I have to say, it does kind of make me like cringe when I see the way some professionals like put content out there, and I'm just like, ooh, yeah, no. You have to use proper proper like English or proper language, you know, if you're speaking, you know, whatever language you're speaking, but you have to have some kind of grammatical sense to do that.
I want to ask you, like, the group of women that are on the Wild, Creative, and Confident video series are all very artistic in their own way, very, very colorful, I would say, have a real flow to them. And you have a real flow too, but it's such a disciplined and more, I will say left brain flow if we can. How has that really impacted the way that you bring in inspiration into your life? And because inspiration and creativity is very just, it can go all over the place, right? So how does that affect you? Do you like just really hone it in and just really concentrate on something specific you're doing? Or do you at times really let it flow too?
No, it's funny. You know, when I try to focus in on writing a particular post or creating a particular image to be exactly the way I think it should be, I get totally lost. And that's the honest truth. So when you see my posts or whatever, and some of them are pretty lengthy, you know, I've written them. Those posts are actually written most of the time like on a whim. It's when a thought kind of strikes me and I just start writing freely. So it's kind of weird, right? It's like kind of like this dichotomous kind of thing, right? So yeah, I'm very disciplined about the activities that I do, but I don't force things to happen. Mm-hmm. It's like when I'm ready and when that moment strikes, I'll literally just take my phone out and I'll hit the record button on there and I'll just start talking. And then I may later go and turn that into a post or something like that.
Yeah. That's really where you allow yourself to really just kind of take off, is in your writing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, some of the images I create, you know, I don't even know what I'm going to start with half the time. I start with a black square and I send it to, you know, whatever app I'm using. And then I just start kind of playing around and colors come in and shifts come in and fonts come in and then thoughts come in. So there's definitely a creative flow to that it's not, there's no rigidity in that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and one of the things I have to say, it's funny that you mentioned it, because one of the ways that that I'm able to produce the content that I do as frequently as I do is because I do have it organized, such that I have kind of a theme for each day. So probably know this if you've seen my post, right? So motivational Monday, transformational Tuesday, you know, goes all throughout the week. I've got a theme each day. So as long as I'm creating a post or a graphic or something that has to do with that particular theme, then it allows for that freedom and that creativity.
So ladies, Lisa might literally be the most organized, creative person that there is out there. Lisa, tell us about like what's going on right now for you. Like, give us some information like on your latest projects.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah, so I am currently, I am taking on new clients, which I am so excited about. I have a couple of women that I've already signed for the coming year that certainly have room for more. And that's with a variety of the different programs that I offer. I've got a 90-day program from surviving to thriving in life and business, and that's the grand poobah. You know, that's the you know, the Cadillac of my coaching programs there. Yeah. And I've got, you know, other resources and stuff as well that I'm happy to assist and offer. I am also working on putting together a challenge. Yes, that's right, a challenge. So it's funny, it all kind of escaped my mind, but I have my business bucket list. I literally created the business bucket list for this year. And on the very top of that is to create a challenge. I'm going to do a confidence building and online visibility boosting challenge for all of the women. Yeah. So I want to teach them how to really break through their barriers, become just develop rock solid confidence and really get themselves out there online, in social media, doing what they do, letting the world know, you know, what they do. So those are really my big two missions. I'll continue to do my radio show every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. I'll be doing that.
Can people find the details for your radio show? Do you post that on your Facebook page?
I do. I post it on my Facebook page, on my personal page, and in my group. I don't have the links until I create the shows themselves in the back office of the website that we utilize for the Life Coach Radio Network. But I always post links.
What's your personal Facebook page that people can find you at?
Sure. So it's Positive Transformation Life Coaching.
So facebook.com/positive transformation life coaching.
No, it's actually facebook.com/ capital P like Paul, T like Tom, P like Paul, W like well, and C like coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, ironically, because I'm on a path of growth, when I first started, I was doing wellness coaching. So I kind of just left the Facebook page the same because I have over like 3,000 people on there. And I didn't want people to start getting confused when I flip, different, tags and all that. So it's fine.
And then where can people find you and join into your private group that you host?
I would love for people to join. We're having a blast in there. It's growing every day exponentially. It's awesome. A lot of support in there. A lot of great women who are doing really great things. The name of that group is called the Confidence Hub for Heart-Centered Women Entrepreneurs. And that literally is, www.facebook.com/groups/the Confidence Hub.
Okay. Well, we'll put all those addresses and everything with Lisa's bio and all of you can, contact her there if you like, and also join her group and take part in the confidence action that's going on in her hub. And so I just want to talk about your free gift that you're offering to those that are watching. And it's called 50 Shades of Self-Love. And I thought that was perfect because you were talking a lot about, self-care and just giving yourself that time. Is that kind of what that is about?
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's literally 50 ways to promote self-care and self-love every single day for the heart-centered woman entrepreneur. So I'm more than happy to pass that along to everyone who is listening.
Awesome. So everybody make sure you definitely take part in that and grab that. And Lisa, I want to ask you one last question. Why do you think you are wild, creative, and confident?
All right. I'm wild.
You're off the charts.
No, I'm wild in my own way, right? So like even my office is, this is not my office, by the way. This is just in a temporary room that I'm using in the house at the moment. My office is kind of like a mess, actually. It's just like all over the place. So I would say like I'm pretty wild like that. I'm definitely creative because, well, for all the reasons we discussed. I love to kind of just throw ideas and thoughts out there. I'm not afraid to fail. That's one of the biggest things. I think that's, definitely what plays into it. And I'm confident because I know that I've been created to do this. And I know that I'm fulfilling my life's work by doing exactly what I'm doing. And it feels good every single day. So,
awesome answer. Awesome answer. You're wild in your own way. I love it. And you also have a potty mouth.
That's a secret.
Well, everybody.
I do curse sometimes. It's not like on social media and stuff. Like I'm not going to be dropping like a lot of F-bombs and stuff, but I do curse in private. Yeah.
It's your secret thing. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you want to join in with our conversation, you can join into the Facebook group Wild, Creative, and Confident. We'll all be in there. And thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions for Lisa, you can find all of her information next to her bio, and we'll put all the links to her Facebook page and Facebook group there. And definitely tune in and watch for Lisa and her next challenges and things like that. You don't want to miss whatever she's up to next. She's awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye.